We're live.
And hello, good evening. Welcome to Monday Night Paranormal Live. Sorry we were a bit late. We got a bit chatting about something. Uh, as you know, we're a part of Poopy and the Great British Ghost Hunters. So we had a weekend Saturday investigation. So we'll go through tonight with some of the evidence and some of the equipment and some of the stuff we saw and what people experienced. Some really, really great feedback on the whole night, which was nice. Uh, Hope everybody's had a good weekend and got recovered from the investigation. It was a long night, but it was a very good investigation. A great place to investigate. You know, it's a real honour to go into somewhere like that and look around it and be allowed to move around it. So we're very honoured with that. So we hope you've all had a good week. And obviously, if there's any questions or anything you want answered, just put it up on the message and Angela will put it up on the screen for us. So we'll so tonight we have Angela from South Coast Ghosts, myself from Host for Ghosts, Julia for Paranation Events, Luke from SCG, and Paula. That's us. So if you have any comments or any questions or anything about Saturday night's investigation, if you were there, please put it on the chat and we'll answer it and discuss it. So Saturday night we were in Andover in an old convent, which was quite a place. It's quite original inside. I mean, Julia could tell you a bit more about it, but it was a very, very good location, a great event. What do you reckon, Julia?
Yeah, it was just one of those ones that I came across, and I just love the sound of it. I love the look of it. Beautiful house, and as you go in, it's just got a real family home feel. That's how I felt. I went in and it just felt like a family home. Beautiful house, and I came across it just by doing a little bit of research. And it used to be a family home to begin with, and then it was a hospital for the US airmen in World War II. Then it became a girls' school convent, and then it became a family home again. And the current owners are hoping that they can do sort of like corporate events there. So yeah, I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. There was some, the cellar was huge. It's very unusual that you have a really big cellar on older houses now. This was built around 1850, but you still got the original cellar, which I think probably spans most of the building. Absolutely amazing. There was lots of ghost stories. One of a nun throwing herself off the landing, and I think we caught an orb that was running down, like falling. There was another story that one of the nuns set herself alight in one of the bedrooms, and someone has sent them a photo of what looks like smoke on the ceiling in that corner. Another, it's just endless. It's just endless. Paul will tell you about his experience.
Still got your cough.
Can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
It was just really good. There was a couple of my friends were outside. They were looking over to the yew tree, and they saw what they believed to be a white figure of a woman. It was just endless. The amount of things that people saw, that people experienced, all the stories that we were told about, people, what happened to people. There's also little Louisa on the staircase upstairs on the landing. I don't know if anyone caught anything from her. But it was just everything that we were told. Someone seemed to capture something relating to a ghost story that we were told. It was just amazing. That's all. I can't beef it up anymore. It was just absolutely amazing. I love the venue.
Beautiful inside.
She was very knowledgeable, very friendly, very welcoming. I absolutely loved it. It was probably one of my favourite ones this year. Absolutely loved it.
even when you drove up to it, you could you could see yourself in there, couldn't you? Because as you drive up and you come out of the trees and this fantastic, beautiful house sitting there, you think, oh my god, it's just something that you'd be quite happy to go there, wouldn't you? And you could see why people would have weddings and venues there, because it is a stunning, and the view around it is just breathtaking, isn't it? It's just so good. We had Cheryl's. Hi, Cheryl. Good evening. We heard a little child say hello up in the attic.
Oh.
So did you catch that? Was that was that audible or was that on the EVP? We arrived. Myself and Jen arrived slightly late because we got stuck on the M3 because they'd closed it due to an accident. So we arrived a little bit after. So I was wandering around trying to do some video in the daylight to get, this stunning house. Even when you walked in the door, it sort of took your breath away, didn't it? It was just such a awe-inspiring place. The paintings on the walls and the furniture, and it is just incredible place. And I was walking around and sorry, I think Cheryl said to me, "Oh, have a quick walk around." Just to get a feel for it. And I sort of obviously said hello to Julia and the team. So I went off down to the basement. So I'd been upstairs, I looked around the rooms upstairs. So Cheryl said, "Oh, well, you've got to go in the basement and have a look down there because it's huge," which is quite unusual for a basement, really, to be that big. And it literally was a huge. It's probably the length of the house, really, and the width. It was just so big. A nice wine cellar. I could see myself plotting down there, getting a bottle of wine for Sunday lunch, and so it was that sort of thing. Cheryl's put a few of us heard it.
Oh, wow.
So we went down into the basement, and I was standing down there, and like a true investigator, I went down there without a torch. What a great idea that was. Yeah, if you read that, Lowell Paul got a bit freaked out. I was standing down there, and Cheryl was slightly up the stairs above me, and I just happened to look to my right, and I saw a man standing there. Couldn't see the features, but a man, like a massive man, with his hat on. And I sort of went, "All right," and I said, "Cheryl, I thought this was empty." And she said, "Yeah, it is." And as I looked back, it moved from the doorway into the what would have been the downstairs kitchen. And because not having a torch, I was getting a bit freaked because I couldn't really see where it had gone. So I didn't know whether it was behind me, in front of me, and I'm sort of edging towards the stairs. Cheryl's edging further and further up the stairs as I'm coming further and further out of the basement. But it was a big person with this hat, and I thought it was someone standing there, and I sort of said, "All right," and I said, "Cheryl, who else is down there?" And she's like, "No one, it's just us." And I thought, well, who have I just seen? Oh my word! And because I didn't have a torch, I couldn't light the kitchen up to see. And I thought, oh, what if it's come towards me? So I'm sort of edging towards the staircase, and Cheryl's gone halfway up the staircase, and I was quickly following her up the staircase because without a torch, it was very dark down there, very, very dark. But there was a great, it was one of the good floors. I had some good EVPs come out of there, and even on the ground floor and then the upper floor, some of the photos the team have taken, and also, the guests that turned up have sent good photos in, and it's just amazing place. It's well worth, even if you don't go there for a ghost hunt, it's well worth going for a visit just to walk around the house. I'm not sure if it's like open like a museum, but it's quite a stunning location.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think it's
right.
I think they're hoping like
an events only sort of thing.
Yeah. But I just felt it had a very warm family feel to it, and there was some like family photos, and it was just lovely. It was just a really lovely place, but incredibly haunted, I found.
Yeah.
And when we first arrived, the lady on site did like a walk around for us. Jen phoned me and said, "Oh, we're going to be a little bit late. We're stuck on M3, or we're going to be in an accident or something. The M3 was stuck. So anyway, I said, don't worry, just come. As long as you turn up safe, that's all that matters. You haven't missed anything. So we were doing our little sort of like walk around on site and everything. We were down in the cellar, and the lady that was doing the little tour for us, she said, oh, a big tall gentleman's been seen in the doorway of the kitchen. Now, Paul and Jen weren't there at the time, and when they arrived, we were just sorting out all the guests and making sure everyone was okay and getting a coffee and that. And we did the little walk around. Paul, went off and sort of had a bit of get a feel for the place. Then he came back and said that he saw this man. So he had no idea that we had been told this earlier when we did the team walk around. So it all ties up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Ties up.
I was sort of surprised, when I came out and Cheryl said, in the walkabout, the lady that's running the place says there's a man in the kitchen in the doorway with a hat. And I'm like, well, that's exactly what I've just seen. And it sort of caught me unawares. I'm quite brave, I'll go in places, but without a torch, I'm a bit lost because I like to see what's coming towards me. And then I lost sight of it for a split second. I thought, where is it? Is it in front of me? Is it coming out of the kitchen, or is it in the kitchen?
Mm-hmm.
And I weren't brave enough to go in there without a torch because it's very dark down there. And there's a few steps that lead into the kitchen. And, you could easily took a tumble if you weren't sure. There weren't massively wide steps, but you could have, if you, not seen them, you could have took a bit of a tumble, and that wouldn't have been a good start to the evening. But then we came up and the guests started to arrive, and as Julie was saying, settling them all down, and lots of newbies there, which was nice to have, people to experience firsthand, and lots of people had something to say. They'd seen this, they'd heard that, or they'd heard a bang, or they'd seen this, and what we have, or what Julia has, is a whiteboard where you can write up your experiences through the night and the times. And it's probably the first time I've seen the whiteboard absolutely full to the brim, with people's experiences. I wrote on the EVP, the couple of EVPs that we caught, and we even heard an audible EVP where it's a direct voice phenomena down in the basement in the kitchen again. It was myself and I think 3 or 4 ladies. I'm not sure who else was there. About 5 or 6 of us, and we're doing calling out, and there wasn't a great deal going on. And then we're saying, "Oh, sorry."
I think was that with the laser grid. I think I was down there.
Yes, and that's when we sort of said, "Oh, we're going to have to go now," and bloody like you do, we're going to move on. And then I heard someone say, "Don't go." And I looked and I said to one of the ladies, "Is there somebody in the corridor?" She went, "No, it's only us down there." And then another lady went, "I didn't really want to say something, but I just heard it." And I didn't say what I'd heard. She said, "I heard don't go." And that's exactly what I heard, but we heard it audibly. And then the other 2 or 3 other ladies said, "I didn't want to say anything because I thought it was someone in here." But all of us heard at the same time this woman's voice go, "Don't go," literally loud as that. And we're thinking, who said that then? But again, I didn't have my voice recorder with me. So I decided to go down there a bit later with another group. So we were down there and we were experiencing it. And at one stage, I'd left the camera in there. I need to go back over that footage, actually. I left the camera in there, and there was a group of women in there doing calling out and all of that. And the split second before, my camera actually went off that's fully charged, turned itself off, and then their REM bear went off. It was really loud. So whatever it was, turn the camera off and then set the REM bear off, which if the camera was on, it would have caught it. It would have caught the bear going. But for some reason, it went off. And when I went back to it, because she said, your camera switched off just a split second before the REM bear went off. So I checked the camera and it's fully charged. It had just been turned off. Wow. So I don't know how. I was a bit stunned by that. And I did some voice recordings down there because I sort of like doing the voice recordings and playing it back. And we did it again. It was a direct voice phenomena come back. It was a direct answer to a question. And there's on the voice recorder, you can hear me say, are you, what does that say? something about, can you communicate with us? Can you talk to us? And then I thought I heard something, but sort of just carried on. And when I rewound it back on the EVP, where it says, can you communicate with us? You hear a clear woman's voice go, no, literally like that. And I played it to Julia and the others when I came back up. I said, you've got to listen to this. This is staggering. You know, to get an answer to a question, you know, it's just unreal. You know, and it was a direct answer to a direct question. And then I think Gemma then came down. I don't know if did you hear Gemma's one? Anyone? I didn't quite catch it, but Gemma caught a really good EVP upstairs. I'm not sure quite what room it was, but it was upstairs somewhere. Gemma might go as she comes on. But did any of you hear it? Julia, Angela, Luke?
Not like a breath, wasn't like someone breathing. I think it was.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
What, a long breath or just a quick?
More like a sigh, I suppose.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because I didn't quite hear it, because you know she came down all excited, which is a brilliant capture for a voice recorder. You know, she's done well to capture that. And it was like a house like everybody had an experience. That's all I could say. You know, Jen was doing some spirit art in the hub, you know, and drew this lady that came through, and then she joined a couple of gentlemen. Who were them?
Martin and Gary.
Martin and Gary. Is that from Infinity Paranormal, whatever they're called?
No, Gary. They've been on a few of my events. I've been there for a couple of years. Great guys, absolutely.
Yeah. Really lovely bloke.
Gentlemen, and I was so pleased that they tend to go with, if they see a venue they like, they tend to sort of like go just to do the venue.
Okay.
Their own thing. I sort of jumped in to see how they were doing. They had like, because we weren't allowed to use Ouija boards, but they had like a glass with like little bits of paper around it saying no, you know, that sort of thing.
Male, female, yes, no.
Yeah, and they were trying to like get this guy's name, and I said, well, why don't you ask the glass to write the first letter of his name with the glass, and see if we can make it out. And there was another lady standing with me, and it's we thought was an L, so we go L, and we sort of like went through all the letters, and it seemed to be Lionel Chumley, or something very, very similar to that. So the lady who showed us around on Saturday sent me an email this morning just to see how we got on and, you know, what we caught. So I mentioned that to her. So I don't know whether she'll come back and say, oh yes, we or whatever. So it's always nice to give good feedback, and you know, thank them for you know letting us, you know, take over the house for the and we had a really quite a big on Saturday, and it didn't feel like everyone had branched off. It didn't feel like you was, you know, encroaching on anybody. It was very
it's very good.
Out, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Sorry, could I just butt in there? I actually went and sat with Martin and Gary, and I sort of came along halfway through, and I was getting a couple of names, and one was Stephen, and Martin goes, "Oh my God, when we were out in the garden, we got Stephen on the spirit box. The name came up on the spirit box, and then I think I got Elizabeth as well, and I think it was Cheryl said that they'd got Elizabeth somewhere or other upstairs.
They're the two guys that saw the apparition.
Yeah, they saw an apparition
sitting in a chair.
Wow.
And also, I think they saw a lady outside by the old tree.
Oh, right. Yeah. But Martin said to me, no word of a lie, I'll tell you exactly what happened, and I'm repeating what he said. So basically, he had this feeling because it was sort of getting darker in the hallway, right? Because that door was open. He had this feeling that something was going to happen. He looked up. This guy appeared in the room, walked over to the settee, sat down, sort of leaned back, looked at him. And at that point, Gary also felt something. So he looked and saw exactly the same thing. And then they both looked down, apparently, looked up, and he'd gone.
Oh, wow.
And they are very
Yeah.
experienced ghost hunters. They, you know, they go on loads and loads of investigations. So I 100% believe
Yeah,
what they
absolutely. Yeah.
really
And he
nice.
didn't make a big thing out of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
He said to me, because he never said to anyone else,
No.
but I thought I'd,
Yeah,
relay that.
very good capture.
Yeah.
Very nice guys. Absolutely
Really,
lovely.
really lovely. They're the sort of people you want on investigations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Come along more. I hope they come along more. I do see them from time to time.
Yeah.
I think they go for the venue rather than the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I think it's travelling as well, because that one was fairly near to them, apparently.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, they said they've been with some other groups. When they
That
came
weren't
in,
as good.
they said, Julia, we're glad it's you. You know, we thought it might be you. They said, oh, we've been with, and I said, oh, great to see you. Because I got a guest list, so I know who's coming. So I was really looking forward to seeing them. And and they said, we've been, you know, with some other groups, and there's been some really dodgy, ropey ones, but we're so glad it's yours because you know we run our group really well. So it was just lovely to see them.
It was. And do you know, I was sitting there for about half an hour with them, and all of a sudden it dawned on me who they were, because we'd been to Manor Farm.
Yeah.
And I suddenly realised, oh yeah, they were the two guys that Paul and I were sitting with outside when that REM pod was going off.
That's right. Yeah,
wasn't
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice.
And I suddenly said, oh, I know who you two are.
Very genuine.
Yeah,
guys.
really
very,
nice.
very genuine guys. You know, they were very respectful.
Yeah.
You know, obviously very experienced in the paranormal world. You know, but they were really, really good. You know, all the guests there were very, very good. You know, you can't say there was anybody who was on a bit of a downer.
No.
You know, like Julie said, you know, as soon as they'd had the lit walk around, we did a human pendulum, and we'll come to that. That me and Julia did in the hub, but everybody disappeared, but nobody was bumping into each other, were they, or causing a problem? It just seemed the house seemed to empty, didn't it? There was some outside looking out, following me outside. Some were having a smoke. Some were down the basement. Some were ground floor. Some were upstairs. Some were in the hub. You know, but nobody overrun anybody, did they? Cause a problem like crashing and banging, and you know, everybody was very respectful moving around the house, which was really, really nice to see. You know, and everybody was chatting, even though they were new people and didn't know. They were all chatting amongst each other. Did you see this? We got that, and this, and that sort of makes you quite proud, doesn't it, when you hear people chatting about their experiences? And you think, do you know what? As much as this is hard work, you make sure everybody's having a good time. And when you hear them together, having a cup of tea, saying, "Oh, we got this and we got that. I've never seen that before. Or, I've never felt this before, and so got that. So we'll have to try." And that makes your job easier because everybody's experiencing something and not nothing. And I found that really good.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought I was really organised.
Yeah.
And I normally am quite organised.
Oh.
And
I know what you're going to say.
everything was going really, really smoothly. Everything was going fine. You know, everything was going to plan. You know, we went for a little bit of a meal beforehand. Then we went there. You know, Andrew was waiting. Everything was going really, really lovely, really smoothly. Ian came to help me to get some of my kit out of the boot, and some others did. And Ian goes to me, "Where's Ian?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I said, "It's not in there, is it?" So anyway, we thought, you know, they're bound to have a kettle or an urn somewhere. We were having, I think I must have had kittens and puppies. But the lovely thing was that I had so many good people around me that when I was completely losing my cool, as they said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll go to Tesco's. We'll get a couple of kettles. We get 2 or 3 kettles, you know." And it's that sort of calmness that just it then calmed me, you know, because I was like, you know, I can't just go home and get it. It's too far. And, you know, we'll be starting to arrive and everything.
Yeah.
But you know, a big thank you to everybody for keeping me
Same.
calm.
Same. So, what did you borrow one in the end? Did they have one there?
Ian did find one right up on the shelf.
Oh my God! How bizarre is that?
And everything, you know,
and an urn as well.
When I was completely losing my cool, everyone, you know, was very calm, rallied round, you know, which made me a bit calmer, you know, and we were able to give everybody teas and coffees, which is, you know, a big part of being in as well. And if I hadn't been able to supply, you know, me and Mark Ricketts, we were like boiling pans of water on the stove. You know? We were determined to get there at some way.
Yeah.
Providing a routine, that's commitment, isn't it? But just thank you to everybody who's listening, and everybody, and Angela, you know, for keeping me cool, and you know, because I will never forget an urn again.
I think also that calmness in amongst the guests also, you know, keeps them, they feel more welcome, don't they? You know, sometimes you can go to different places and you can feel quite hostile, can't it, when you walk in there, you know, and the team you've got there are very welcoming, you know, there's no effort to talk to people, you chat and have a laugh and, you know, wander around, make sure everybody's enjoying it, and you know, there's tea, there's coffee, go and help yourself, have a break if nothing's happening, you know, head to a different. So, you know, you have got a really good team around you, and I think that calmness brushes off on the guests.
Of course it does.
Because if you're calm, you know, they're calm, and the energy becomes good, and they start to enjoy it. And some of the feedbacks I've seen that's been on the chat have been really, really positive. You know, really good feedbacks.
Yeah, thank you everyone for the feedback. It's lovely to read, and you know, there's behind the scenes there's a lot of hard work that goes into running.
Of course.
Right from the very first email, right up to providing teas and coffees, you know, for the guests and giving them a really entertaining evening. It's, you know, months of work that goes into them for, you know, 5 or 6 hours. But yeah, it's you know, and to hear lovely feedback, and you know, and it just goes to show that we've all done a really good job. So thank you.
Yeah, it's a good team. It's good, you know, like you say, the house was very warming, very welcoming. You know, you sort of, and it was one of the warmer events we've been on, isn't it? Where it was, you know, you could wander in a t-shirt, and so it got a bit chilly later on, but it was a very comfortable temperature for everybody, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you could keep warm or you could be hot. You know, and people, it was just nice to sort of, I was wandering between sort of places, make sure everybody knew where they were going, or they hadn't been somewhere, or if you tried upstairs in this room, or you've been down in the basement, try that room, sort of giving people direction, really, because sometimes you can get a bit lost, can't you, wander around and not really go anywhere. But everybody seemed to have fantastic, everybody had a smile on their face, which is the main thing. You know, they enjoyed it, and as far as I understand, everybody experienced something, which is brilliant.
One person that kept quiet, and that's the person that I kept calling Tim, who's actually Mark.
Mark. Yeah, his name's Mark, Jen, not Tim.
He looks like Tim.
Doesn't matter if he looks like a Tim. His name's Mark Ricketts.
A little bit like him. I
That's
get
why he
you.
wouldn't answer you.
Oh, dear.
It's not his
Just
middle
going.
name, is it? It's not his middle name, is it, Tim?
She said to me, "Oh, I've had quite a chat with Tim." I said, "Well, Tim's not here. Mark's here. Tim's not here." She went, "What do you mean? I've been calling him Tim." I said, "No, that's Mark."
Well, he was sitting on the sofa, wasn't he? When I wasn't there, but I think they were doing the SLS camera,
Yeah.
and he
Yes.
sat on the sofa.
Yeah. I don't know where you got
That
Tim
was
from.
hilarious.
I don't know where you got Tim from.
And then when I said something to him, right? He
If
goes,
he said a
"Yeah,
name,
it was
I'll buy you
quite."
a drink
He
somewhere
said,
else.
"Oh, I just didn't say anything because I thought you knew."
Oh dear.
I said, "Well, I know now."
It's Mark and not
Yeah.
Tim.
If his middle name's Tim, maybe that's what you're getting, or maybe
Yeah,
he's got
Yeah,
I've got
that's it.
no idea. It
Yeah.
That's funny.
was funny.
Yeah, so it was a really, really good venue. You know, good event. It went really, really well. I say we got some good EVPs. I saw that man in the cellar that I didn't know it was there. I think Zoe and Cheryl and Paul and that they got some good evidence as well, didn't they? Downstairs and in the middle, in the ground floor. I think I saw them with the shadow box going. Was that right? Did I see that? It's in the
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
see the
that's
shadow going off, and I said to Cheryl towards the end of the evening, "Has it gone off?" And she saw it had. But that's an
right.
amazing equipment. I wish I had one of them.
Yeah, I have one of them, but I hardly ever use it. I don't know why.
What was it?
Shadow box, you know, the lights that flash.
Oh, yes, yes.
Them.
yes.
Bring it next time. Paul.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we could just sort of add it in. We could have two of them going. You know,
Yes, the-
Luke, what did you get? How did you get on, Luke?
Well, everywhere I went, it was deadly quiet. As nothing happened.
Oh, no.
Joking.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they didn't like me or I don't know. It was silent.
Was you on your own then, or did you group up with somebody?
With Cheryl most of the time, I think.
Right.
Just we had like the shadow box. I was there, but after that, it was just quiet. Just
What?
deadly.
Just dropped off.
Yeah.
Did you not think of going to a different location on your own?
Can't remember. Went in the children's bedroom, but it wasn't. I had like weird writing on the walls, like "help me" and stuff.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why a child would write that. I'm not sure.
And did you not sense anything in there when you were in there?
But it just felt a lot like mental health place. To be honest with you, I don't know.
Oh,
Don't know
right.
It felt like a lot of mental health hospital. I don't know if there was at one point, but I felt like a lot of mental health sort of things
Right.
in there.
And did you write your experiences up on the board?
I think I forgot.
Luke, come on.
I
When
don't
you
know.
do things like that, write them up on the board.
Yeah.
So, you know, just because it doesn't mean a great deal to you, but it might mean something to someone else.
Mm.
Right, yeah.
You know, because someone else might say, do you know what? I had that feeling in that bedroom. So then, you know, you're not thinking, well, is it just me that's feeling this? You know, if you write it on, you think, so-and-so's gone into the room and it's felt like that. You know, you might think, well, actually, it weren't me. You know, write it down. Write everything down. It's like me. You know, I carry a voice recorder everywhere I go, really. And I'm always recording. You know I am. I've always got it going, haven't I, Luke, wherever I go?
Yeah.
Because, you know, just because you can't hear it or you can't feel anything doesn't mean to say something's not happening.
Yeah, no,
You
yeah,
know,
that's right.
fire off your camera on your phone like Julia does. Julia's often firing pictures off on her camera on her phone. You know, just because you're in a room and you feel nothing's happening, take some pictures, take a voice recording. You know, there's always something, and that venue there seemed to have something in every room. You know, I don't know other than yourself, but this is what I say to you, Luke, about taking pictures with your phone, taking voice recordings. You can use your phone. You don't need a voice recorder. You know, I was in the basement on my own for ages, albeit a bit scary. There's bits taps and knocks going on. And I'm thinking, this is not good to be here on my own, but this is what I wanted to try. You know, having seen the man in the beginning.
Video mode.
Pardon?
Just even if you put your phone onto video, and this is what I do. I put my phone onto video mode, as if I'm videoing, and I just ask questions like, is there anybody there? And sometimes I get answers back. You don't have any flash equipment or anything like that, just a normal box standard phone. Take loads of photos, take videos. You can even use your phone, put it on record, use it as a voice recorder.
Yeah.
Or download a voice recorder app on your phone. Or the SLS camera. You can download an app on your phone. That's quite well.
I don't know if you can see that. That's the picture Jen got when she was sitting in the hub on her own of the lady with the ruffles around her neck here. But she hadn't seen the picture or anything in the hallway. She would just sit
in the hallway. It's in one of the rooms.
in one of the rooms.
I think it was the one with the crystal lamp on.
Right, with the salt lamp on. That room.
Oh, okay.
So Jen was sitting in the basement, in the base hub, on her own a lot of the time, and this is the picture she came up with. So, and when you look at when someone's done a video of it, when Jen showed me tonight, when you stop the video on that,
it's a sideways.
It's a sideways picture, but it looks exactly like that lady.
Wow.
So that's the type of house, type of venue it was, wasn't it? It's just incredible. I don't know how did you get on, Angela?
We started off in the attic, I think it was, in the room where the nun was supposed to set herself on fire. And I had my tri-field meter in that corner, and the temperature alert did keep going off. It kept sort of beeping. And I think the temperature was like going up by a little bit each time. And there was quite a few bits of equipment set up, and one of them was a music box. I think it started off on the bed, and it kept going off all the time. We thought, well, maybe like there's movement on the bed, and that's causing it. So I moved it to like a dressing table or something, and it was still going off on there. And thought, try somewhere else, and wherever we put it in the room, it would still keep going off.
Interesting.
And there were a couple of, I think there were spirit boxes. I think one was Luke's and one was belonged to a group of girls. And words kept coming through. And then at one point, they both got the name Hazel at pretty much the same time.
That was what happened, yeah.
Yeah.
Blimey. Both at the same time.
I remember that now, yeah.
Yeah, that was good. And then I don't know if it was the SLS that was, I think it was the SLS that was sort of facing towards the fireplace in the mirror. And I think somebody saw something on the camera that was either reflecting in the mirror above them, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's something to do with the mirror. Something was seen in there.
Was that the mirror upstairs, Angela, or down? And there's quite a few mirrors in that house, in that venue, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was one above the fireplace.
Okay,
Something's in there.
that's interesting.
And then I didn't get anything in the basement. I don't know if I was down there long enough, really. And then the room where Mark was just sort of lounging on the sofa thingy, and he had his arm out like that, and then the SLS camera was looking at him and picking up someone sat next to him and trying to hold his hand. So that's why he had his hand out like that. And I took a couple of photos, and they did come out where there was like a blur in front of his hand. So I don't know if that was something that I captured, or I don't know what that was. And the shadow box is going off a lot in there as well. Because I know it went off a few times when we did the meal the other weekend, but this time it was just sort of all over the place. It was really quite exciting, I guess.
When I went in that room for the first time, and I was wandering around in the dark, I actually thought I'd walked into something, or sort of and I put my torch on, looked down, but there was nothing there, and I did get the feeling there's an animal there.
Oh, right.
I don't know where. I don't know. Sort of. I thought I'd walked into something. When they get that solid donk, and I thought, I have to be careful here. And I put the torch on, looked down, there was nothing there. I thought, well, what did I just walk into? And I couldn't work that out. And I thought, I don't know, and carried on like you do. But now thinking about it, I didn't know whether I did have a feeling of a dog, like like an Irish wolfhound. That
Yeah.
type of feeling I kept getting of this dog that was wandering around, and I thought, oh, I don't know, could I have walked into it? I don't know.
I actually saw an Irish wolfhound in one of the pictures going up to the attic, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah.
But that's the feeling I got. Like, it's a very tall, straggly dog, I want to say, and for the better one, I would have said like an Irish wolfhound, that type of dog. But I don't know whether I bumped into it in that room or I'd walked into something. But when I stopped to look, thinking, oh, I need to be careful where I'm walking here in case I don't want to knock anything over. But I was in the middle of a gangway. It wasn't near anything, and that's what I thought. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Cheryl's put. Yeah, I didn't go, and it didn't go off in any other rooms. Yes, there was a black dog in the lounge. So
There you go.
that would indicate an animal. Yeah, I just sort of in my mind's eye sort of like an Irish wolfhound. That's what I thought. But a black dog could well have been a family pet, or you imagine that house was used for hunting as well, wasn't it? Pheasants and game and all that. You can imagine that house in its thriving time with the servants and the kitchen going, and gamesmen bringing in the pheasants and them having parties there, hunting parties or whatever you want to call it. It was that sort of feel to it, like a hunting house. It's just staggeringly brilliant house, and that, I think, that's it. Oh, the other thing I suddenly remembered, and Julia will back you up on this, when we did the writing planchette down in the kitchen, and we had the name come through, didn't we?
Yes,
Do you remember that? Oliver.
Yeah.
It was spelled Oliver, didn't it?
Yes. Yes.
And we were sort of saying,
it was such an active evening.
yeah. And we were sort of saying, can you give us the first letter of your name, wasn't it? And because we tried it on the glass and it was screeching across the tabletop, wasn't it? The glass, when somebody's like dragging their fingernails down a blackboard, it literally was. Julia, I'll tell you, it was literally like someone dragging their nails down a blackboard, wasn't it, Julia? We're like,
like a metal, I don't know, prep tape, and with the glass on top, it was very sort of like it just didn't work. It's too squeaky.
It was great. It was quite. It moved it though, didn't it?
It
A bit of encouragement. It actually moved the glass across the metal table, believe it or not. So, that was quite impressive. And then Julia had the idea, well, why don't we see if we can tell us his name? And it literally was going around in circles at first, wasn't it? The writing planchette. And then obviously with a lot of encouragement from Julia and that, we said, can you tell the first letter of your name? And it was like an O, wasn't it? We're thinking, well, okay. And the second letter, and it sort of scraggled an L, didn't it? And then just kept going. And when we moved the planchette, we all sort of looked at it. Because at first it looked like a W, didn't it? Or an M. We were thinking, well, which way is it? Was it a W? Was it an M? Was it something? We couldn't quite make it out. And I think Julia said, well, try again, tell us your name. And it started to squiggle a circle, didn't it, at first? And then what's the second letter of your name? And it actually, when we took it off and looked, it spelled Oliver on the paper. Unbelievable.
What did you get on the human pendulum?
The human pendulum was just incredible. Because we had a girl, when I first entered the house, I picked up on the name as soon as I entered. I think I said it to either Cheryl or Gemma. It's name of Emma. As soon as I walked in that door, I heard the name Emma, an emerald. And I said to Cheryl, Emma, emerald. I can't make up whether it's the colour, but it was definitely the name of Emma straight away. So obviously I did a quick walk around, and then we decided to have a human pendulum. We asked around the circle, but I think it was quite a few new people there, so nobody really wanted to sort of give up. They were being moved. I saw a few people actually swaying, but they didn't want to give up. And one lady said, well, I'll do it. And she came forward, and Julia was standing in the middle with the lady. asking the questions. And how strong was the response, Julia?
Yeah, I know. Her name was Julie, and I spoke to her earlier in the day via email. And when we did the pendulum, I said, "Oh, sorry, I don't know your name." She said, "Julie." "Oh, I remember I spoke to you earlier." And by email, she said, "Oh, yes." So anyway, I said, "Have you done it human pendulum before?" She said, "Yes." So I'm like, "Okay, that's great." You know, she sort of like won't be too, you know, sort of like put off by the feeling going backwards and forwards and things like that. And it was so strong. We sort of like put a hand either side. I put my hand either side of their shoulder, and it was so strong that I was literally standing. As soon as she started to move, I had to like go around in sort of like in front of her or behind her, and really sort of like try and stop her from falling. It was so strong. And then she kept like moving like side to side like that.
That was very strange.
And I said, "Oh, Paul, would you like to take it over? Because it's literally so strong."
Yeah.
And you know, Paul, you know, taller and stronger. But it was just, yeah, it was so powerful, so powerful.
It was a very, very definitive yes or no. No sort of little bit of a is it, isn't it? It was definitely, you felt her actually push back, and I was struggling to try and hold on to her. To be honest, I can see why Julia stepped out, because you know it was that the response was that strong that you sort of double took your step to hold on to her coming forward. And we were doing it for a while, and I'm thinking we might need to call an end to this, because you don't want to end up hurting her shoulder, because you're really having to hold on to her, wouldn't you, Julia, to stop her. You know, you're double footing to try and get in front of her to stop her going forward. And it was a definitive push. It was just incredible.
I've never been a human being, but I was just thinking, by the way she was going backwards and forwards, you wouldn't do that consciously, because you'd be afraid you were going to fall.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. And she's 2 places for Shaw House.
So, oh, right, nice.
You know, like the next morning. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing her again, and yeah, I really enjoyed spending time with them.
The really strange thing was asking the question, and we asked the question, is this Emma that we're talking to? And that was a definitive yes, you know. But we kept asking questions, you know, but she was going sideways, literally wobbling sideways, and I've never seen that before. And it was like it was thinking about the question, or it was answering the question that somebody round the circle had. You know, and even Julia said she's going sideways, and a few people there said she's actually swaying sideways and not backwards and forwards. And it was a very strange thing to see. So we kept saying, and I said to them, like in the circle, you know, someone here's got a question they want to ask. They, you know, just ask it, you know, because Spirit are answering the question before you've actually asked it. You know, and it literally was being pushed forward and back quite strongly. And a couple of times she sort of went yes, and I thought someone's asking a question in their head, but not actually saying. And we kept sort of encouraging them to. Eventually, they started, didn't they? The gentleman asked a good question and got a really positive answer, and eventually they started to sort of ask the questions, weren't they? But it was a very, very powerful human pendulum, very powerful, because lots of people were coming, wandering back and sitting down and watching it, because it was really that going that well, the contact in the circle, you know, that we were thinking. And I thought, you know, we're going to have to stop this, because I'm going to end up hurting her shoulder. And Julia, tell you, it was literally like she was just being completely pushed or dragged forward or back. And you really had to sort of double take your step to hold on to her. As you thought, and she's very trusting, because if you're moving like that, you've got to trust that person that's going to stop you falling over, aren't you? You know, she was very trusting. And then we sort of said thank you and ended the thing there, ended the circle then. And you asked her, do you remember anything about it? She's like, no. Why? Like she completely didn't know what we were asking. Did you not know that you were swaying sideways? And she said, no, no, no. And it was like, you think, how can spirit, how clever a spirit to be able to do that? And that was one of the strongest human pendulums I'd seen in a while, to be honest. It's very, very strong. And I can see why Julia sort of took a step out, because it was physically quite demanding to hold her, wasn't it, Julia?
Yeah, I just, I thought I like move around. When I saw it move around, sort of like, it was just so strong. I just had to ask. I thought, oh, Paul, can you come and take over, because you're a bit taller and stronger.
Yeah. It was quite difficult to hold on to her when she did go yes or no. It was that quick, that strong, wasn't it? It was a definite yes or a definite no. There was no sort of swaying slightly backwards and forwards. The only swaying that happened was side to side. And it was like it was, I don't know what it was trying to communicate there, and we couldn't work that out, because that happened a few times. It's sort of, you asked the question and it didn't go yes or no. It just sort of was swaying sideways.
Maybe
You're
that
thinking,
was don't know or don't want to answer.
Yeah, possibly, because we were trying to ascertain who she was in the house, weren't we? Was she a servant? Was she there? Was she a nurse? All these type of questions to try and narrow it down, to obviously make it easier for her to answer and us to get an understanding of who she was. But although she was communicating, it was quite difficult to find out, who she was. We know the name was right. Emma was exactly the name I got on there, and we thought she was something to do with the nuns, didn't we, Julia? Like a nun in training, or whatever they call them.
Yeah, it was quite difficult to try and get on the same path, wasn't it, as to who she was? But yeah, it seemed to be something along those lines.
Yeah, cool.
I'm sorry, I'm over here because it's easier for me to sit here. I'm wondering if it was a nun, like, she would have been quite ashamed to have set light to herself, maybe. And when you got that voice recording of, no, this person didn't want to communicate, maybe it was the same person.
Yeah, possibly.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah, and it never sort of thought to ask the question, are you the nun that sort of fell over the banister or whatever, or were you the nun upstairs that set light to yourself? I never knew any of that at that time, but I just knew the name Emma was significant coming into the house. As soon as I come through, I heard it. I literally heard the name. I'm sure it was Cheryl that I'd said to, why have I got this name Emma and Emerald? I had Emma and an emerald. So I wasn't sure whether the emerald was a colour that was there, or it was a second name. I really don't know. But I knew in the human pendulum it was her, the strong name of Emma. She was there. Quite what she was there, I don't really know, to be honest. You couldn't really get a grip on what she was doing, but all round it was a very, very good event. Very, very good. Very active. Even right from the start, I think when you did your walkabout, it was like right from the word go. So I'm sure, at some stage Paranation events will go back there. And if you missed it this time because you didn't get a ticket, I strongly advise you to get the tickets this time, because it's quite an event, that one. The house, just to see the house, is fantastic. It was just such a lovely house. The funniest thing is we couldn't find our way out either. Everybody was following me. We were going round in circles.
Yeah.
Because we missed the gates. We went straight up and ended up on a dead end, and had to go round in a circle.
Yeah.
And as we came round in the circle, we looked back and there's about 5 cars behind us following us.
Yeah.
Nobody could get out. So eventually Jen realised, well, we've got to go out the gate, surely. And eventually all the cars turned around, and we eventually got out and went out the gates, and everybody sort of dispersed their own ways then. But it was quite funny going up and down, seeing all the same cars following us going up there. Yeah.
when we
Pardon?
did the little walk around, I said to everybody, because it was quite a large group, I said, look, everybody, you know, we're going to do the lit walk around. We're going to do it as fast as we possibly can. If we want to concentrate on the ghost hunting. We only had, I think it was like 5 hours, which went in a flash. I could have easily another couple of hours easily. And everybody kept up. Everybody, you know, we did the lit walk around in record time because it was quite a big venue. And it just went really, really well. You know, apart from getting the urn, I think that was an omen, because after that it was just, it was one of the best events I've done in a long time.
And when I don't know whether you noticed, when looking at people's faces, how they were smiling. Everybody had something to talk about. You know, even around the tea urn and the biscuits, or they were sitting at the table. Oh, what did you get? Yeah, we got this and we got that. Sometimes you get people sit down and don't say anything to each other, you know, and it's a very quiet room when you walk in. But I was going around saying, "Oh, what did you get down there? Did you? Oh, well, we got this." And you know, are you new to this? Yeah, but we had this knocking, and I think somebody said they had a door shut in a room.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who that was, whether it was Cheryl or Zoe or one of them groups, but somebody put down about a door closing because it's on the whiteboard. If you looked on the whiteboard, it was on there, and that was around. I think that was around 11:30ish. Whoever wrote, if somebody's watching this tonight, they may well know who that was. But they said they had one of the doors closed when they were in the room, and you know, so it's all ground. You know, I think people enjoyed it because everybody got something out of the whole night. You know, sometimes you can go to locations and it can be hard work, can't it? Where you know, you're thinking, spirit, come on, you know, just do something, make a bang or knock something over or just do something, you know, and eventually they do, don't they? But that house is just, it was just a different level, wasn't it? You know, everybody was getting something. The house just didn't disappoint in any way.
And the amount of
Good
people that
EVPs.
saw, you know, you saw that man.
Yeah.
They saw that guy come in and sit on the sofa. They saw that lady in the garden. It was, you know, that's. I think, I don't know. It was such. You know, whoever, you know, saw these apparitions. I think, you know, we're incredibly lucky. I'm still going through my footage, but it's just lovely. I've got a real nice family feel from the home. There's a big tree in the garden with a higher swing, 2 kids playing, and you know, just a really nice family feel about it.
A happy home, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But maybe not the convent.
No, it was obviously quite traumatic at that time when that was there, but the general feel you got to it was a really, really happy home. You know, growing up, the kids would have had such a good life growing up there. You know, beautiful garden, beautiful views. The house was spectacular. You know, very, very privileged to have houses and the grounds like that. I did want to actually get out into the grounds and do some filming out there, because I'm sure there's stuff out in that woods, because there's a bit of a woods behind it, isn't there, with a little path, because there was two urns on a top of a brick wall and a pathway. And I did think to myself, I must get out there with my the night vision camera and wander into the wood bit, because I'm sure that, you know, there's activity outside as well as inside. As Julia says, you know, somebody saw a lady in white standing out there by the yew tree, and they used to use the yew tree to ward off spirits, didn't they? That's why you find them mostly in churchyards, yew trees. They're supposed to ward off the spirits, the negative spirits. And that's why, you know, maybe there's a family burial ground there. I don't know. Did we see anything?
We were picking up on graves and people and graves in the grounds. So I took one of my rods outside and headed over sort of onto the patio bit where people were smoking.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, you know, can you show me where the graves are? Where's the graves? And it went over to the tree, point over to the tree. And there was a few other people with me. I can't remember who, but there's a few people with me. And I said, it could be animal graves instead of human graves.
Yeah, yeah,
I was getting animal graves, because it was a beautiful tree, absolutely beautiful. I don't know how old it was, but must have been years old. Really
yeah,
beautiful tree, and I just had the feeling that animal graves, so maybe
yeah,
if we explore the grounds a little bit further, we might. But I think there's some quite brutal stories going around with the nuns. I think we got some nun stories come through,
yeah.
which were quite upsetting. But I think they weren't the meekest and mildest of ladies in their time, were they?
No, no.
So, but yeah, really, really good. Can't wait for hopefully the venue is going to be just good.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, if you didn't go this time, get your tickets as soon as they come available again. If Paranation go back there, I'm sure they will try and get back there. Get your tickets early for this one, because I think, the people that missed it, it was a good all round event. Like most of the events that we do, or Julia does, we always get something good happen. Like I say, to see people wandering around chatting to each other that they don't know, and the experiences that they were having, and it was just a pleasure to see people enjoying. Which is, like you say, there's a lot of hard work goes on in the background behind all these. Not a case of turning up, open the doors, and everybody piles in. There's all the health and safety issues that got to go through. Everybody's got to be safe, and then it's getting it all right, numbers right, amount of people. There's a very much great deal goes behind the scenes before you arrive. And then the team are there to welcome you and show you where to go and that sort of thing. So it's all well organised. So if it comes up again, then do get your tickets and go, because I think you'll be seriously, especially Paula. I think that's the sort of place you, Justin, and William would have loved.
Yeah,
It was that sort type
Typical.
of place where, well, yeah, but I'm,
We'll go back. Hopefully, we'll go back.
yeah, and it is,
Be on my list.
it's the sort of place that I'd probably like to do filming outside late in the evening. Obviously, make sure the guests are all right, and then wander off a bit, because I'm sure there's things that go on around that house, not just in it, but around it. That we didn't see. I don't know whether anybody wandered around the gardens or whatever, but I don't think I saw many people outside. A few people I saw wandering around the outside, but not many. So it might be interesting to sort of do that. I need to go over my camera I left in the basement to see what that's picked up, especially before, just as the bear got turned off, because it was there for about 2 hours on its own. And it's a motion sensitive camera. So it'd be interesting to go back over that and see whether it's picked up something in there. But as I say, when I first went down there, there's a huge man standing in the doorway with his hat on. And I'm thinking, and I literally honestly thought it was one of the guests. And I said, "Oh, all right," like you do. And Cheryl said, "Who are you talking to?" I said, and I suddenly fell in there. I'm thinking, there ain't nobody here. And Cheryl said, "There's nobody down there. It's just you." And I'm like, "Well, I haven't got a torch, so I'm certainly not going in the kitchen to look for it." So I grabbed the edge, and
What
as
kind
I
of hat
got,
did he have? What kind of hat did he have?
it was more like a flat cap, like a flat cap. It reminded me a bit, yeah, that type of. It was very big. He filled the whole of the doorway up, to be honest, when I first looked. And I thought it was actually someone that was down there looking around. And I sort of said, all right, sort of like you thinking it was someone that would walk towards me. And then Cheryl said, we're down there on our own, because Cheryl's like halfway up the staircase. And I said, oh no. And I started to go back to the stairs, and then Cheryl started to get further up the stairs as I come up. I did get a bit freaked because I never had a torch. I did, the carnal sacrifice, and I went down without a torch, which was silly of me, really. Gemma's put, a couple keeps saying that the window, something in the trees outside. So I took some pics, and when I saw my pics, about 3 white spots floating. That's a good shout, Gemma. You know, when we're saying about investigating outside, you know, we're so fixed in investigating the house, you know, you forget about the grounds, don't you? You know, it could be there's a family burial ground. Somehow these stately homes have family burial grounds, don't they? Outside and or slightly away from the house, or you know, like you say, burials for animals, you know, their dogs and cats or whatever they would have had in them day, and quite possibly what Julia picked up on. You know, if you've got that feeling of animals, so you can imagine around that area or around that tree was maybe a favourite tree. That's where they put them. You know, who it'd be worth asking the question, really, wouldn't it? You know,
Yeah.
because that's the sort of feel you get from the house. But all in all, it's a very, 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 very good event. That's
Yeah.
that's my opinion. I thought it went really well. Happy guests. You know, everybody did what they were supposed to do, and everybody had a really, really fantastic time. So, thank you again, Paranation. So it's
Very well.
good.
To everybody, the team and everybody that came Saturday. Absolutely, it was a really good event. Lots of really good people. Lots of people I recognised before previous events, and also some people I've never met before. We'll see again. We always have to do like the health and safety before we do, especially a new venue, because you know, they've got rules and you know we have to follow them. If you don't follow them, then you know they can shut us out, you know, and they might stop us from going in the future. So you know that's what you know we have to have health and safety. We have to do the little before everybody arrives. You know, we need to know what we've got access to and where we're allowed to go, and also, you know, any rules that they want us to abide by. So, you know, people might think, oh, you know, we're not allowed to do this, or we're not allowed to do that, or we have to go here, or we have to eat there, or whatever. But you know, it's somebody's house, it's their property. You know, we just have to respect that, respect the
Absolutely.
in it. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's very important that we do get that done before anybody else arrives, and you know, to run a professionally run event.
Because you're not only the safety of everybody, it's the safety of the guests as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, last year was somebody to get injured, hurt, fall down the stairs, or trip over something. You know, you just don't want, you want everybody to go and enjoy it, do the health and safety thing, and it's like not using Ouija boards. You know, you have to respect that. Some people are like that. Some people just don't like them. You know, people go, oh, you know, the big groan, but you respect. You know, you're in somebody's house, so you have to respect the rules of that house, don't you?
Yes, and you know, there's many other ways to communicate, and also the board isn't always that successful because going back, sometimes people weren't educated, sometimes people fell, and also some people don't like using the board. You know, some ghosts that come through, they don't like the board because it's a stigma, and they still think, oh, there's a stigma to it. But you know, we did glass moving, we did writing plan jet, did loads of other activities where we could work out who that person was, even when they just wrote their initials with the glass. There's, you know, we got so many experienced people with us, and you know, we've got a magnificent team, and you know, we don't need a board. We know that we can get really good results with other bits of equipment that we've got, and you know, and we did. It was just really good. And also Wimbledon, they don't allow boards either, do they?
That's right.
No.
And this is like takes us back to the subject where we were talking about equipment, where you don't actually need all this hi-fi technical equipment. It's going back to basics.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we miss the basics because we're so engrossed in the cameras or the voice recordings or this, that, and the other. You know, we tend to miss the basic stuff, really. You know, and it's a shame sometimes that you do that, but you're so eager to get something, aren't you? You just you're just throwing everything into it. I mean, you know, it was a very, very good event. I can't highly recommend it. You know, if you get a chance, the tickets come, get back there. Highly enough, yeah. It was good. You know, very accessible to get in and out. it wasn't difficult for people with walking difficulties and things like that. You could get in and out. The access was very, very good. But yeah, it was all round great event, to be honest. There was some. Oh, I did my paranormal podcast last week to America.
Yes, how did that go?
I think Luke listened to that. Did you, Luke?
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, I listened to that. It was really good. Interesting.
Yeah. So we did a bit of plugging on there. So that's gone out, and I think Julia did local radio one as well. Did you, Julia? You're in the dark now.
Yeah, sorry, I would put my light on, but where I was like putting some stuff together yesterday, there's lots in the way and I can't get to my light, so I am a little.
We're nearly done anyway. Yeah, I think Julia, you were on the local radio station, weren't you?
I was, yes. East Hearts Radio. Let me try and get. There you go. Outside.
There you are. There she is.
East Hearts Radio. So yeah, that was probably about a month or so ago. So that went really well. But yeah, I think we're getting our name out there with, sort of like, hopefully we'll get a few more plugs here and there. So yeah. But if there's anywhere we can plug, we will plug.
Yeah, it's like the podcast, and Luke could tell you they were asking, where is your favourite places in the UK to investigate, and they were asking where, if you ever came to America, all expenses paid, where would you want to go? And very good questions, weren't they, Luke?
Pittsburgh battlefields.
I said Waverley Sanatorium. That's on Waverley Sanatorium. That's on my bucket list in America. One of the most haunted places you'd ever go, apparently. And when the guys, I spoke to them, they said, yeah, it massively haunted. And also Gettysburg. I'd like to go to Gettysburg there. That's another one on the top of the list if you're ever in America. Like they said, if you're ever out here, just give us a shout and come on a paranormal night with us. And they were called Haunted Souls. But they're very, very good. Some really good questions, not only from them, but from the people watching as well, wasn't it, Luke? It was quite a busy...
Yeah.
It started about 20 to 1 in the morning our time. And I think me and Jen got to bed about 10 to 3 after it finished.
Oh, gosh.
You
must have been shattered.
Yeah, and then we were up at 7 to go to work, and Jim was up to go out. So it was a long night, but well worth sort of plugging.
Worth it, isn't it?
We just got to keep going. Like you say, our name's getting out there, and if we can get all expenses paid, trip to America for all of us, that'll be worth it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well done. I'll give that a listen. I had a bit of a busy week last week, but I will give that a listen when I got some spare time. So hopefully this week.
It's on YouTube, isn't it, Luke?
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah.
The Haunted Souls, isn't it? Was called.
Yeah.
So
how did you hear about you?
They were they've done about, did he say 200 or 300 podcasts? They do series. They do so many, then they have a break, and then they do another load. But he contacted me because he'd seen the website and just been browsing into the UK and thought that it'd be interesting to have a UK investigator come on into America to see how different we do our investigations to the US. And he contacted me, said, would you be interested in, he said, I've been on there and I've watched your and he'd been on here as well. He'd put some bits on here, and I seem to remember it, but I'm not sure. And he said, we've been on watched your Monday night, and I've looked on your website, would you be interested in doing a podcast to America? And I'm like, oh well, yeah, okay then. I'm thinking if we can plug, get ourselves out there as a really good team, which we are anyway, and we sort of went backwards and forwards for a little while. He said, we've got to have a UK investigator. He said, we've never been overseas before,
wow.
It'd be nice to see how you investigate, in the UK than we do in the States. So a few weeks later, he said, are you interested in doing that? So I said, yeah. He said, the only thing is we're 6 hours behind you. So the podcast starts at 7 o'clock in the evening their time, which was like 12:30 our time.
Oh
So
God.
he said, there's a massive time difference. And I said, yeah, you got to do this, didn't you? Just to keep plugging. So
Mm.
at 12:30 hadn't come on, and I kept saying, Jen, and so I messaged him. He said, yeah, we're having a bit of technical difficulties with the laptop, so we'll be on about 22, 1:45, wasn't it, Jen? 1:45, and then suddenly they appeared. So we started off and introduced ourselves and blah blah blah, and then my laptop shut down. I
Oh
looked at
no.
it, suddenly went offline, didn't I?
Yeah.
And they were saying, "Oh, this is going to be a very short podcast, this one."
Yeah.
So I had to swap straight from the laptop straight onto my phone and get back on there. So I thought, I'm not letting this go. And that's where we were till about 2:30, 25 to 3, wasn't it? Something like that, when we said the final time. We've done questions from a lot of people from the States, where would you go? What's on your bucket list? What would you do in America? And, what would you use this? And tell us a few stories from the investigations you've been on and all of that type of stuff. So we did all that. So we did plug away. But
Is there anything
if
that they
anybody,
do differently to what we do?
well, they seem to
We got
use a
rain
lot
here.
of.
We got rain. It's starting to rain here.
All right, they seem to use what did he call it? Spirit portal a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they something like, was that what you said, Luke? Spirit portal or
Phasma, isn't it?
yeah, plasma portal. That's
Phasma,
right.
yeah.
Well done. Yeah, and they use that a lot and get very good results and voices and all sorts through it. He was saying, didn't he? Where
Yeah.
we use our spirit box and various other equipment, they tend to favour towards that because he said that he gets some real good, conversations or real good replies on it. I've never had one, so I'm not sure. I've seen them, but I've never used one. So, I said to him, we use the the SP7, the Spirit Box, and we have a few apps and bits and pieces, but they tend to sort of slightly different to us. He was saying over there in the UK, you have massive histories, and you have castles and all these types of places that they don't have a great deal in the States, but they have plenty of battlefields, and and they can go. And a lot of times he was saying that they don't always need permission to enter the haunted locations either. Where here, we'd have to ask permission, or it'd be trespassing or whatever you want to, we'll call it. And he was saying that they can wander in to some places, be perfectly fine going into these locations, which is slightly different from us, isn't it? We have to get permission and, go along with what they say, where they could just wander into them, which was quite interesting, different to us, So if anybody from the United States is watching and they want a very, very top UK group to come and investigate with them, I'm on here. Give us the nod. I'm sure we could get a flight over.
we got quite a big team.
Yeah, we don't need a private jet. We're quite happy to come over on a normal plane. Luke, you can bring your mum. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, you could always leave her there, Luke, could you?
No freedom.
Well, if there's no more questions, or I hope you enjoyed the evening. And we had a great investigation, as you can hear, Saturday. So stay tuned to the Paranormal events page. Groundings Theatre's the next one, Julia, isn't it, coming up?
Yes, that's 24th of August. We're having a little bit of a break because we've been doing quite a lot recently. We've had 2 in June. I think we did 3 in January. So yeah, we're just having a little break in July. Blasted cough. And then we're doing one 24th of August. We're down at Groundlings Theatre, which was an old beneficial school for poor children when it first opened. So lots of history. I've been there a few times in the past, and I think one of my claim to fame is having a ghost skull that I took a photo of in the upstairs fireplace. And apparently when the little children, they used to use them as chimney sweeps, and they could make them go up the chimney, and if they got stuck, they just used to leave them there. There's nothing they could have done.
Wow.
Very, very sad. So I'm not sure who this skull was, but it's quite a sad place. And there's also someone buried in the car park as well. which is actually on site.
Mm.
But yeah, a very interesting place.
Is there still tickets available?
Yes, yeah, we are selling places at the moment, but we still have some places available. And then we got Shepton Mallet at the end of September.
That's right, yeah. So keep an eye on the Paranation webpage. Tickets for the Grounding Theatres. Obviously, then there's a break for a little while, summer holidays and all of that. So keep an eye, get on there, get your tickets booked up. Shepton Mallet Prison, I can recommend that. That's a very, very good venue. That one, never fails
I've never done that. I've never done a ghost hunt there, but I've been there during the day.
Me and Jen did one there, and it was
Yeah.
it was quite an eye opener, to be honest.
Eerie.
Very much so. 'Cause also, you've got to remember, in the execution chamber, the rope's still hanging there.
Yeah.
So it has that. Have you ever been there, Luke?
Yeah, loads of times. Yeah, my
I think,
favourite place.
Andrew, have you been there? I think Darren's been a few times, hasn't he?
Yeah, we went last year during the day for a tour.
That's right. Yeah, you went to do the walk, didn't you? That's
yeah.
right. Yes. Yeah, but myself and Jen did a paranormal night there with a group, and yeah, well worth getting on the Paranation website. Get your tickets. Get to Somerset. Get to Shepton Mallet, second most haunted prison in Britain. Well worth going.
As well, so you don't need to worry about accommodation. You can bring a sleeping bag, and you can sleep there for a few hours if you want to. But
enjoy.
You will.
8 till 8 or something. You got 12 hours of pure ghost hunting.
And it is literally massive place. So you can go on one of the wings and be on your own for a few hours before people find you. It literally is that big, honestly. It's huge. And it's quite intriguing, some of the places. It'd be interesting to see, we know we've noted down what we got there. So it'd be interesting to see what other people get when they're there. But it is a terrific venue, steeped in history. Lots went on there. I won't give too much away. It's just, it's good. So we've done an hour and 22. So I hope we answered your questions and you enjoyed our Saturday night escape in the country. As on the TV program.
Yeah.
You say escape to the country. We go escape to the haunted mansions. That's where we go. So if there's no more questions, or we hope you enjoyed tonight and it was interesting. If you have any topics you want, like Angela put on the bottom, get in contact with us. We're always looking for new topics. Any of our friends in the States want to come on and chat about their investigations, I'll send Haunted Souls a link, so see whether we can get them on to chat to us. But obviously there's a bit of a time difference, which will tell us about their they've had some quite haunted experiences, these two. Very, very interesting, aren't they, Luke?
Yeah.
I think they're from, is it Illinois, sort of Central America part?
Yes, yeah.
It was in it, very interesting. So I'll contact him and see whether he'd be interested in coming on here and having a chat with us. And very, very, knowledgeable, very, very knowledgeable people. So we hope you enjoyed it, and we'll say have a safe week and be careful out there, and we will see you next Monday at the same time. Have a great week.